Hey, welcome back to the Hard Drive Radio Studios. I'm Lou Brutus. Sam and Pete Loeffler from Chevelle are my guests. Let us talk about this Rarities and B-Sides album you've come out with. First of all, whose job is it to keep track of everything that you've done so you can go back in a proper way and find this stuff?
Yeah, he's standing over there.
Scott Carter right there.
Hey, Scott.
He does a very good job. He did a really good job because we didn't have a lot of this music.
Yeah.
Even in our
collection.
Yeah.
Just kind of went away. Yeah, we did have to ask for it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I it's weird because I would think if I recorded music, God forbid, but I'd be like, hey, I did this song. It's really cool. It was 15 years ago. I want you to hear it again. How do you lose track of that stuff so easy? You seem rather nonchalant about the whole thing.
Oh, man. Well, it's just been a long time, So back then, we didn't have, our iTunes, that we could pull up so easily. And, of course, I didn't really buy my own records. So those were bonus tracks.
Right.
So if you didn't, or like if you went to Best Buy and got their version or whatever.
Or some of them were imports on this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a cool thing to have them all together now because we can kind of look at it and, we can kind of see a whole collection, see how it panned out.
It's an obvious question, but why 12 Bloody Spies?
Mm-hmm. Well, because we added a song. It was 11 Bloody Spies. That's kind of being funny, but it's true. That's what happened. And then when we changed the name last minute, didn't we change that on you? Because we added Fizzgig to it. And easy answer for the name was this is sort of a, the Spies were the songs. They were kind of like in the background.
Yeah, that's kind of obvious.
Yeah. But
we also thought it sounded cool.
Yeah, there you go. We wanted to tie it into Halloween, which was coming up, and right towards the release, and include socials and stuff.
Now then, as you go back and revisit this stuff, does it take you back to when and where it was recorded, and did you get any nostalgia
places
from it? Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was in a bad place for this.
When somebody else was in the band at that time.
Sure.
Yeah. Some of those songs were recorded with that dude. So yeah, I mean, you revisit some of that when you hear it, but half of the record or more is newer, so newer to us, like A Miracle or Glimpse of a Con. So good memories too.
Yeah, really good memories.
Now, when you look at we'll call them tapes. Obviously, most of this stuff is digital, but all of the alternate tracks and alternate takes for songs. Do you ever think there could be a box set down the line of, the Beatles, I guess, are most famous for that with their anthology series and album release series. Do you think there could be like 42 takes of a particular song that come out one day?
Wow, that's interesting.
We'd have to go sift through a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we try to keep as much as we can keep as far as demos and things like that go, but I don't know that there are 42 takes of anything.
That's probably a good sign, but...
Yeah, I mean, there's probably... Some of the songs have 2 or 3 different demos, for sure.
Yeah, I've talked about releasing demos, kind of like PJ Harvey did, of Rid of Me, I think it was. And so fans could actually see what Send the Pain Below was like before it...
The building process.
Yeah. A lot of it is very different, from where it ended up.
And that's really where the interest would lie in not hearing something that's slightly different from the finished product, but...
Right. Yes.
The stuff that's really different from its original idea.
How do you demo? Well, and when I say demo, how do you start to keep track of songwriting ideas, the little sparks that later become songs? How is that all organized?
We have a complicated system in place.
By complicated, I'm guessing that it's sporadic and weird and hard to keep track of.
It's extremely.
It depends, because if it's an idea, it's on the iPhone. It's on my iPhone. Probably have, hundreds of ideas on there, just blurbs, just little like clips of riffs. But if it's demos, it's all analog. Like, we're just old school Mackeys and stuff. It's really weird.
Yeah, we
wouldn't believe it.
We have this really weird system. It's actually analog going in, but it's just these hard disk recorders that we use. They're super old. They don't have any editing. It's literally just record and play.
We like to do stuff live. That way it's like you learn it a little bit better for the studio.
As you're doing it.
Every time you play it,
once
you know
he gets
better.
a good drum take down, then I'll just keep changing it.
Yeah.
And
So we have this series of hard drives that for these machines, and they're getting harder and harder to find because they're scuzzy. So I had to just order 2, and I had found them somewhere in London. So they don't cost very much, like $60, but it costs $100 to ship
it over.
Yeah, right. But the stuff's disappearing. So, I mean, we could switch over and use some.
I mean, I use GarageBand as well.
Yeah, I mean, we could use Pro Tools.
People are gonna laugh. Yeah, it's not.
But
it's Pro Tools, but it's you can do a lot of the same things. But
it's really about the process, right? I mean, because once everyone has a different process. When his process of actually sitting there in front of that thing, pressing stop, arming a track, record, stop, play, that whole thing is part of his, and I've seen it in person, is of his, he's thinking about that lyric or that melody or whatever it is, and that is part of, it's adding to it. So now it's ingrained into, I think, into the songwriting. Can you do a different way? Sure. Would it be different? Probably.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about maybe taking that as a challenge and going, gee, why don't we try the process from the ground up in a different way just to see which way the songs go? Because that small way of changing the beginning, you know.
Yeah, we have definitely done that. Even when it comes to the music part of it, he said, just sit down, give me any beat, whatever it is.
Yeah, 3 minutes of a beat.
Give me 3 minutes of something, no matter what it is, and then I'll come back, you know, the next day, and he's written a melody, and just kind of written a song around this very simple thing that is abstract, very abstract. Because drums, while they're not very musical. I mean, people will argue with me, but it's not normally very musical, right? Unless it has some melody to it. So we've done that a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And do you still enjoy the physical process of creating music? I know folks can burn out on it sometimes, or they can burn out on the studio. Do you still like getting in there and the actual, crafting of music?
Oh, hugely. Absolutely. It's my favorite part, honestly. Mm-hmm. The touring is a totally different beast. It really is. But the hours I spend at home in my basement, like I've always done, those are the exciting parts when I get to play him a new idea, and it turns into something.
Yeah, it's so.
Although after 10 albums,
yeah.
You got to dig deep.
Yeah.
Lou. You got to dig deep.
Go ahead, Sam.
Well, it's just it's kind of, for me, it is. I walk and I'll walk down into that basement to his studio, which is
a complete mess.
It's a hole.
It's horrible. In fact, if people come, I'm gonna have to clean it up before Tyler or anyone comes.
Yeah, it's very dirty down there.
There's just analog pedals everywhere. There's notebooks and everything.
There's pictures of it on our Instagram.
Oh yeah, okay.
But
and yet, I'll bet you know where everything is at every moment.
Yeah, I mean, everything in its place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, what do they say about a clean workplace is a wasted life or something like that?
But then again, be orderly in your preparation so you can be chaotic in your work is also said.
Sure.
Although I think people who come up with sayings don't create as much as other people do, so that could be part of it.
Yeah.
On that note, we'll wrap up this segment. Pete and Sam Loeffler of Chevelle, my guest. I'm Lou Brutus, and you're hanging with us at the world-famous HardDrive Radio Studios.